If you're a web developer, there's one skill that is, without a doubt, one of the most valuable things you can have in your toolkit, and that's NodeJS. And no, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So let's dive in and figure out exactly what it is, how it works, and why it's so darn essential.
But hold on a second. If you spent any time at all in the ridiculously chaotic world of JavaScript, you might have heard some buzz that Node was, killed off by a hot newcomer called Dino. And that can be super confusing, especially if you're just trying to figure out where to start. So do you learn Node, or do you just jump straight to Dino?
Well, for right now, the answer is crystal clear. Learn Node first. Especially if you actually want to get a job or, build a product. We've seen this exact kind of tech hype cycle before, right? A few years back, everyone was saying GraphQL would completely obliterate REST, and it just didn't happen. The reality is, Node is the established player. It's got a massive ecosystem. Dino is awesome. It's got a bright future for sure, but Node is the practical, essential skill you need today.
And here's the real key. This isn't some either-or choice that you have to stress out about. The skills you get from learning Node today, they're going to almost entirely transfer over to Dino tomorrow, if and when you decide it's time to pick it up. So really, it's a total win-win for your career.
Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get down to the most important question. What actually is NodeJS?
All right, first things first. NodeJS is not a new programming language. You're still just writing plain old JavaScript. The huge difference is that Node is what we call a runtime. Think of it as the environment that lets your JavaScript code break free from the web browser and run directly on a machine, like a server.
And you have to understand, this was a completely revolutionary idea. For decades, JavaScript was just trapped inside the browser. Meanwhile, the backend, the server-side stuff, was all built with totally different languages like Java or PHP. But when Node.js came out in 2009, it changed the entire game. For the very first time, a developer could build a whole web application, from the buttons you click on the screen to the database behind the scenes, using just one language, JavaScript.
Okay, enough with the theory. The best way to learn anything is just by doing it. So let's go ahead and build your very first Node application, right now.
It really is this easy. Step 1, just create a new file, and we'll call it index.js. That's the common convention. Step 2, inside that file, you write a line of JavaScript that you've probably seen a million times, console.log hello world. And finally, step 3, you pop open your terminal, type node index.js, and smack that enter key.
And boom, that's it. No, seriously, you just built and ran a server-side application with Node.js. It's that accessible, but while that seems super simple on the surface, there is a ton happening under the hood. So let's start peeling back some of those layers.
All right, now we're going to dig into what makes the Node environment so different from the JavaScript you might be used to in the browser. We're going to explore some of the built-in tools that Node just gives you right out of the box.
See, Node has these built-in global identifiers that are just always there for you to use. You've already met console. We used it to log hello world. Then there's global, which is kind of like the window object in a browser. It's a place for stuff you need to get to from anywhere. But the one we really care about right now, the most important one for this conversation, is process.
The process object is your direct line, your window into what is happening on the server at that exact moment. You can use it to check the operating system, you can grab environment variables, and as we're about to see, you can listen for all kinds of important events. It's your window into the machine itself.
So we keep using this word process, but what does that actually look like on a real computer? Let's take a quick, unfiltered peek under the hood. It might get a little weird.
Now, don't worry about trying to understand any of this. Nobody expects you to. This is a raw system log. It's cryptic, it's messy, and it's what's really happening when a computer is running processes. It's just a constant stream of low-level commands.
And this is the entire magic of Node.js. Its whole purpose is to manage all of that low-level complexity for you so you never have to see it. Node handles all that chaos using a really powerful concept called an event-driven architecture. And that's the absolute key to understanding how Node really works.
Let's look at a perfect example, reading a file from your hard drive. You can do this in two ways. The blocking way, which we call synchronous, literally stops everything. Your entire app just freezes and waits for that file to be read before it does anything else. The non-blocking, or asynchronous way, is totally different. It kicks off the task, but then immediately moves on to the next line of code. When the file is finally ready, it triggers a callback function to handle the result. It doesn't wait around.
And here is a super useful rule of thumb, a great little pro tip from the source material. If you see a function in Node that ends with the word sync, like read file sync, you know right away it's a blocking operation. It's going to stop your code dead in its tracks. It's a simple but really powerful thing to remember.
So how in the world does Node juggle all these non-blocking tasks at once? Well, the secret sauce is something called the event loop. This thing is the absolute heart of NodeJS. Whenever it sees a slow, heavy operation, like reading a huge file or making a request to another website, it doesn't handle it directly. It pushes that task off to a separate thread. This keeps the main thread totally free and unblocked, ready to handle quick and easy requests.
Now, this non-blocking architecture isn't just a cool technical detail. It has huge real-world consequences. It makes Node incredibly good for any app that has to handle a lot of different things at once. That's why it completely shines at building web servers, real-time applications like chat rooms, and APIs that have to serve thousands of users at the same time without ever getting bogged down.
So if there is one thing you remember from all of this, make it this. Node's design is not an accident. It was built from the ground up specifically for high throughput, for handling a massive number of concurrent connections as efficiently as possible. That's not just a feature, it's Node's whole reason for existing.
So now you get it. You know what Node is, you know why it was created, you know how to write your first app, and you get the core principle of its event-driven, non-blocking architecture. The only real question left is, what are you going to go build with it?